Ready to go?
Yep, just a few seconds. We should be good to go.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Ready to go?
Good to go. Yep, just a few.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. The Medford Comprehensive High School Building Committee meeting will be held tonight at 6 p.m. via remote participation only. The meeting can be viewed on Medford Public Schools YouTube channel through Medford Community Media on your local cable channel, which is Comcast 9, 8, or 22, and Verizon 43, 45, or 47. This meeting will be recorded, and participants can log or call in by using the following Zoom meeting ID, which is 961-1987-9508. Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and get started? So our first thing on the agenda is a roll call, so I'll call the roll. Jenny Graham. Yes, I'm here. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Present.
Dr. Galusi.
Present.
Marta Cabral.
Here.
Joan Bowen.
Present.
Ken Lord. Saw Ken.
Sorry, lost my mouse. I'm here.
Libby Brown.
She's here. I just made her a co-host. You should be good now.
Hi, Libby.
Oh, thank you. Got it. I'm here.
Marissa Desmond.
Here.
Maria Dorsey is absent. She let me know that she could not join us tonight. Brian Hilliard.
Here.
Emily Lazaro also let me know that she is absent tonight. Paul Malone.
Here.
Hi, Paul. Nicole Morel.
Here.
Aaron Olapade.
Here.
And Luke Preisner. Bob Dickinson.
Here.
Fiona Maxwell.
Here.
Chad Fallon.
Here.
Dr. Talbot.
She's not here. She's welcoming our new kindergartners.
Got it. Will Pipicelli.
Here.
Lori Hodgson.
Here.
John McLaughlin. Paul Rousseau.
Here.
Phil Santos. I see Phil. Okay, and Lisa Miller.
Here.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Okay, so we have 12 in the affirmative, 3 absent. We'll call the meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is approval of our minutes from Monday night's meeting. Thank you, Will, for the very fast turnaround. These minutes will be certified and they will go to the MSBA with the submission that was sent in earlier today for our PDP. So is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Brian. Is there a second?
Second.
Who was that?
Suzanne.
Oh, hi. Sorry, couldn't see you. Okay, I'll call the roll. Jenny Graham, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes.
Dr. Galusi.
Yes.
Marta Cabral.
Yes.
Joan Bowen.
Yes.
Ken Lord.
2 for 2. Yes.
Libby Brown.
Yes.
Marissa Desmond.
Yes.
Maria Dorsey's absent. Brian Hilliard.
Yes.
Emily Lazaro is absent. Paul Malone.
Yes.
Nicole Morel.
Yes.
Aaron Olapade.
Yes.
And Luke Preisner is absent. So that is 12 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 3 absent. Minutes are approved. Okay, next item on the agenda is I'm going to turn it over to the left field team to talk about the options for how we will ultimately build said new something of Medford High, like TBD exactly what it will be. But there's 2 options. One is a process called design bid build, and the other is called construction manager at risk. So there's two different delivery methods, and they're going to tell us a little bit about both of those methods so that we can make some decisions about how we plan to proceed. So Matt, I will turn it over to you.
Great, thank you. Nice to see everybody again. I know we just met a couple days ago, so I appreciate all the time and dedication everyone is giving to this project. So this presentation between the two delivery methods, like Jenny said, design, bid, build, and construction manager at risk, is a presentation that we are required to give so that the committee can select the most advantageous delivery method for this project. So I'll go through kind of the differences between the two and touch on some pros and cons of both, and just kind of go through kind of each of these. Just a quick kind of history of it. It was Chapter 193 of the Acts of Resolve in 2004, which was also known as the Public Construction Reform Law, that essentially separated these two delivery methods, Chapter 149, which is design, bid, build, or Chapter 149A, which is CM at risk. And they went into effect in 2005. And in order to proceed with construction manager at risk, an application does need to be submitted to the OIG's office so that they can approve that delivery method as well. They really want to just make sure that the projects that are being delivered under construction manager at risk kind of fall into the category that really deserves that delivery method, which is largely around complexity, size, and phasing. So starting with design, bid, build, this is really kind of the traditional approach for public construction. The project is fully designed by the architects and engineers all the way through to the construction document phase. So you would not have any involvement from any general contractor until the documents are actually go out to bid. So once the plans and documents are complete, bids are solicited from file trade contractors and general contractors at the same time. There is also a pre-qualification process that those contractors have to go through, very similar to kind of what we've done for hiring the OPM and the designer. You issue an RFQ, you confirm who is qualified to do a project of that size, and then there's a public bid opening. With design, bid, build, the low responsive bidder is awarded the project. This is a lump sum kind of closed book amount that we would see there from each of the contractors. You do have to go with the low bid unless there is a reason for them to be disqualified, if there's any bid protest or they don't provide all of the documentation that was required. So it is possible to kind of disqualify or not go with the low responsive bidder if that were to happen. It is fairly rare, but can happen. The kind of one of the largest differences between the two is change orders. So the change orders for a DBB construction delivery method would be a final increase to the construction cost. So overall, it's a fairly linear kind of process. You qualify firms, you issue the documents for the proposals, you receive the proposals, you open them all at the same time, and then like I said, you go with the lowest responsive bidder. So on our time frame, we have, if the project were to pass in May, we would be going into the detailed design in early 27, and the construction documents would probably not be fully complete until it's generally about a year from the end of SD to when construction documents are prepared. So 2028 is when this project would be bid under a design bid build delivery method. The construction manager at risk procurement process is based on qualifications and fees. So kind of similar to the DBB process, you do have to go through a pre-qualification process to confirm that any of the general contractors or construction managers are qualified to do a project of this size and scope. The biggest difference with CMR is that it allows you to bring on a construction manager much earlier in the process. Typically, they're brought on in the schematic design phase. This gives them the ability to provide design review, pre-construction services, and really kind of get into the logistics of the site. We would ask the construction manager at risk to provide a cost estimate. It's one of the first things that we would do starting in SD, is have them work closely with the designer and work through a cost estimate. The construction managers obviously have a very close relationship with subcontractors, so they're a very good estimating tool. And given that it's the firm that would be building the project, you get a bit of efficiencies with how closely they can work with the designer and really get a good cost estimate at that point in time. We would still be doing cost estimates through the designer as well, so we would still be receiving 2 cost estimates, but the second one, rather than being through the OPM, would be the CM firm. The CM will then, after the pre-construction services, will become the builder of the project. So again, their familiarity with the project is certainly one of the benefits. There is a trade pre-qualification process that goes along with construction manager at risk. There's about 40% of the bid packages that would still have to go through a publicly bid process. And that is handled very similarly to the design bid build, where the lowest responsive bidder would be awarded the contract. The remaining contracts are all procured through the construction manager. So they have the ability to reach out to the firms that they have worked with before. Typically, they reach out to 4 to 6 firms, ask them to price the project. They provide them with leveling sheets to make sure that all firms are looking at the same information. They'll bring them in, do a final D-scope, and then ask those firms for best and final. But it gives the owner a bit of control in that subcontractor selection. The OPM and the designer and owner can certainly be involved in those in those discussions. But it does help kind of give the owner a bit more control over some of those non-trade bid packages. Having a construction manager also allows you to release early bid packages. In the case of Medford High School, we would certainly be looking to release site work packages and kind of mobilization packages early, and most likely look to do early site work foundations in structural steel, and really any other long lead time items can be discussed and put into an early bid package to kind of help with fast tracking the schedule and making sure that we're hitting all the key milestones. The contract itself is called a guaranteed maximum price or a GMP with open book accounting. This GMP will be executed when all of the major bid packages are bid. There would not be a GMP per se for early bid packages, but there would be contract extensions from early release packages through the final procurement of all the other scopes before a guaranteed maximum price is reached. change orders resulting from scope and unanticipated site conditions can still increase the final cost of construction, but the big advantage here is having that general contractor on board early with some of the site contractors to do additional surveying and kind of get ahead of some of the unforeseen, especially largely in site work is where we see the majority of that. So again, kind of gives you a little bit of a benefit to get ahead of some of that work. The key differences, and probably the easiest way to kind of look at this is, for a construction manager at risk, you're selecting a firm based on their qualifications and hiring them to manage the construction project. Whereas with design bid build, you're selecting the lowest pre-qualified builder and are purchasing a building through the specifications and the plans. So on here is some of the things that I kind of talked about previously. Obviously, up here at CM at risk, the pre-construction services, starting in schematic design is a big benefit to get the contractor on board early. There is the flexibility to adjust either design or how certain packages are broken out if packages do come in high. It's less of a time constraint with design bid build if there are issues, or if we were to get let's say like electrical is a trade bid that would need to be publicly bid. If we were to get all electrical bids that were well over the anticipated budget, we would probably go out to bid. There would probably be some design review, but because of a very linear process, that hurts us on a schedule basis. Whereas with CM at risk, again, you have that flexibility with some of the trades to kind of pick and choose and use the CM's expertise to avoid some of those potential schedule delays. CM at risk is also a much better management of changes because, again, they are on board early. They have buy-in to the design and the phasing. So there's a bit more skin in the game for them to make sure that changes are kind of fleshed out prior to construction. Whereas with design bid build, again, you're being handed the documents and building off of those. So if there's anything that's unclear or needs to be changed, it would result directly in an owner change order. I did see someone's hand go up. I will pause for a quick second just to answer some questions.
Paul?
Thank you. So with the design bid build and the effects on schedule, like in the example you used, we do the electrical and we are thinking it's going to be, I don't know, 50 million, but it comes in at 150 million, and we have to go and be like, all right, well, we got to do something here. All that time while we're figuring out what it is we're going to do is going to delay the project. And am I correct that the parts of the project that may have already been bid, and like we've already decided, okay, we're going to use these folks for roofs. I'm just making stuff up. I'm assuming that the thing that they agree to is time sensitive. So if we need an extra 6 months, everybody who we've already picked and their amounts will go up because of inflation. Is that true?
It really depends on the length of the delay. I would say 6 months is pretty aggressive and very long. I wouldn't anticipate like a 6-month delay per se, but it could be a month, like we're to kind of go back and look. So I wouldn't, unless it was like a very long delay, I wouldn't anticipate the other contractors to say, hey, we need to rebid because it's been so long that, pricing is totally different. Escalation is typically carried and anticipated in bids. So unless there's a major scheduled delay, I wouldn't say that would happen. Again, it probably could, but I think that's a very severe kind of schedule delay issue, and probably talking more about major design issues as opposed to just looking at maybe some of the phasing or some of the products potentially that are being used.
Okay. And related to that, so how does that, so in the example I just gave of we just decided electrical is going to cost 50 million, but the bids come in at 150 is the lowest.
Mhm.
Let's say, well, we really can't do anything about it. It's just going to be 100 million more. Where does, or how does the MSBA fit into this conversation at this point?
So MSBA is still reimbursing based off of scope. They do have they do have their cost caps, for certain aspects of the building. We've kind of talked about a few of those, like increasing auditorium size from 750 seats to 1,000 seats. But
Now, is this that, when we were in the earlier phases and attending the MSBA meetings, there was I think there were two high schools or schools where they had to agree to a new bigger number because of inflation and for whatever other reasons. Is this one of those scenarios where like everybody here thinks it's good? I'm just making it, it's going to be 800 million, and at the end of the day, it's 900. We don't get, as a school building committee, we don't just get to make that decision and call it a day. Like, so is this where MSBA has to kind of chime in and be like, we are okay with that and vote it?
Yeah, I do think MSBA certainly would weigh in if there were major, buyout issues and we were way off budget. I personally haven't gone through a scenario like that. So knock on wood, hopefully I don't. It's a good question. I don't have a great direct answer for you. I can certainly try to get some more information for you, but
these are problems that are less well, they're not necessarily not less likely to happen, but
Can
that
everyone
we
hear me?
know so much earlier, right?
It's Jen Carlson, but I'm calling in from the car. Can anyone hear me?
Hi, Jen. We can
hi,
hear you.
Jen.
Maybe.
We could hear you, Jen. Are you
Oh,
trying
good.
to
Sorry,
jump in?
Can you hear? Yes, sorry about that. I was trying to find the unmute button in the car. I just wanted to chime in that if there was some sort of significant overage that wasn't expected, there are avenues to pause, go, take a lot of scope out of a project or do some value management back to the go back to bid. It would definitely be a conversation with the MSBA if there was absolutely no way that we could get back to budget. I will add that there are so many checkpoints built into the process through estimates at every step of the way, not just during this feasibility study, but once we get onto the other side of this, we'll have a design development estimate and then a 60% CD construction document estimate and then a 90%. And if this project does go CM at risk, it does give you a lot of insight what's happening in the market the whole time that we're planning and designing. So I won't say it couldn't happen that we would be 100 million over in any instance, but I would say that it would be very closely tracked if you did have a partner on early throughout the project. And you know, and I think having that partner as opposed to having that happen and then going to a design bid build firm, it allows for going back to the drawing board with the builder as a partner, as opposed to the design team, you know, deciding on to make some changes to the documents and putting it back out on the street to bid.
Thank you. And I don't want to scare anybody. I was just using round numbers that I was thinking. Those numbers are
Scared
just
me, Paul.
sorry. But you know, I guess you know, this design bid build versus CM at risk thing. I mean, when I think about the uncertainty of, you know, tariffs and inflation and all the other stuff, it just feels like design. I mean, I'm obviously not somebody who's going to be bidding on this, but you'd have to bake in an awful lot of risk into your bid because you don't want to go bankrupt trying to build our high school. So that's why I personally have a strong feeling for CM at risk, because we get all that earlier stuff. And am I also correct? I'm doing all the talking, sorry. Am I also correct that with the CM at risk, we can literally like order our steel and have it piled up somewhere rather than, you know, long before we would have even done the bid?
Correct.
Okay, I'll stop talking now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
I'll
and
let you
that,
get back to your presentation.
All right, I'll touch on a couple of kind of quick pros and cons. We've kind of touched on them just as the discussion has gone. But advantages for CM at risk. So again, selection based on qualifications, experience, and the proposed team rather than the lowest price or bid. Design phase assistance with budgeting, site logistics, constructability review. You know, kind of what we talked about earlier. Like Jen was just saying, the early cost estimates and feedback to help with the design. This is you know, another huge kind of benefit to the CMR, getting all of those estimates throughout the design phases. And again, they get a bit of buy-in to that design since they're, you know, assisting in its review. Fast tracks schedule and early release bids. Again, that's another benefit that you do not get with design bid build. And then team concept with owner, OPM, designer. Again, this is just more or less they're you know, a part of the team. You know, they have that early buy-in. They're you know, brought on with the designer and the OPM to assist with you know, the overall building project. Design bid build advantages. It's overall a simpler process to manage. Again, it's a pretty linear kind of procurement method. And you know, the results are kind of what they are from a bidding perspective. The scope itself, though, is already fully designed, and you're issuing, you know, fully developed construction documents, whereas with CM at risk, you don't have you know, those complete documents when they are brought on board. The owner and designer can completely control design. Again, this is just everything that the owner wants to include in the design is put in the designs, and that's what's sent out to bid. Whereas with a CM, you know, there may be some push and pull on the design, again, kind of depending on where price is tracking and schedule. So yes, you know, there may be some more you may have the ability to kind of control the design and design bid build, but you don't have any of that kind of cross-checking prior to release of the documents. And simple accounting, again, it's a very kind of straight, you know, billing process, not a overly complicated kind of requisition and invoices from the general contractor. We did include here just kind of what the best suited projects are for each. So for construction manager at risk, projects that are time sensitive, challenging to define, or subject to potential changes. They often require high construction oversight due to site logistics and phasing, and obviously the management of multiple stakeholders. For design bid build, typically are less complicated projects that are more budget sensitive, but are not as schedule sensitive and aren't really subject to change. So a lot of design build projects are generally new construction projects, generally on the smaller side. There's just less concern and coordination with those projects, and a bit easier to go with the design bid build procurement process. Some of the disadvantages. So the CM at risk, you are required to have an OPM and a designer that understands the CM at risk process and the guarantee maximum price mechanics. This is really that OIG application proving that you do have a team here. Both Left Field and SMA have done a ton of CM at risk projects. So that's certainly not a concern, but it is a factor. There is a perceived higher upfront cost due to pre-construction services. So yes, CM at risk is generally a bit more pricey, but we have found that the difference and the delta between CM at risk and DBB isn't as large as people may assume, just because of having the ability to plan with the construction manager throughout the design processes, kind of filling in the holes in the scope to make sure that some of the more simple change orders are caught prior to the packages being bid. The potential oppositional relationship when design intent is challenged, this is really just kind of a back and forth that often occurs between a designer and a construction manager, just trying to figure out the best possible design in order to meet budget. Just naturally, difference of opinions can happen, and having a construction manager on early can certainly highlight some of those challenges. Design bid build disadvantages, like I've been saying, linear process, which can equate to a longer schedule duration. Again, we don't have the advantage of getting any early bid packages done. Hard price is not known until the bids are received. So again, this is just the bid opening day. You get the prices from your general contractor and your subcontractors, and award to the lowest responsible bidder. Minimal GC project management. This is just the management of general conditions. In the construction manager at risk method, you have a very detailed list of general conditions that the construction manager is required to put together in their bid. That's not really as detailed in design bid build, which can sometimes hurt in kind of scope coordination. The designer may have limited ability to assess scheduling and cost ramifications as design is developed, which can lead to a more costly final product. Again, just not having a builder on board prior to the construction documents being released just gives the builder less time to review the documents, which gives the designer less time to assess any potential design issues and scheduling ramifications. Prone to changes and claims, which may increase final project cost. Again, this is really kind of where that cost difference between CMR and design bid build becomes much closer together. You will experience a larger number of change orders on a design bid build process. Pretty much all changes are change orders to increase the overall project cost. But it's certainly one of the disadvantages for design bid build is kind of finding those changes as they come up and not really kind of being able to manage schedule as effectively.
Question for you, Matt, before you go to the next slide, if I could, through
Mayor?
the chair. Through the
Yep.
chair. You talk about requires an OPM or owner with an understanding, and that kind of is my overall question, because we've had some success with a CM at risk. I know, especially when we have people holding them accountable. So maybe talk about a little bit about left field's experience and obviously how you would play a part in your team would play a part in holding CM at risk accountable and maybe it being beneficial for us.
Sure. So left field, about 90% of left field's projects are construction manager at risk. Myself personally, I have only worked on construction manager at risk projects. So it's something that I am very familiar with. I know Jen Carlson and Linda on left field have also done numerous projects, CM at risk, and same from the design side. Matt Rice and the SMMA crew are certainly well versed in the CM at risk delivery method as well. So I think you bring a very strong team with your OPM and designer having ample experience in the CMR process. So, you know, we will certainly leverage the expertise that we have, not just with this immediate team, but with the rest of our, you know, with the rest of the left field personnel. I recently assisted in hiring a construction manager at risk down in East Bridgewater. So I kind of just got through this process. So it's very fresh in my mind. And certainly we'll have a lot of input as we, you know, start to figure out how we want to put together the request for qualifications, you know, for this project. Every project is different. This project obviously being the size and scope and complexity that it is, we'll have to take a good look at what the qualifications for the CMs will be, so that we're, you know, making sure that we are getting firms that know how to do projects of this scale. And not just bringing in firms that, you know, potentially haven't done projects this big before and kind of making it a bit more of a hassle for this team to make its way through qualifications and proposals.
Could I add to that?
Yep.
Just as you were saying, Matt, I think it starts at the early stages of that RFQ, you know, making sure, like you said, making sure it's all in there. And then once the team is hired, if it is a CMR, the key is that they are a team member from the beginning. So making sure that we're setting up processes from the beginning that help, you know, get everyone on the same page. The level of trust, I think, that's built with a team mentality like that, it just allows you to hold all three of us firms, you know, left field, SMA, and a CM at risk. It allows everyone to be held to account throughout the whole process. So I think that is a benefit to having a CM at risk on the project. One thing I just remembered, I personally worked on a project during COVID times that did, to Paul's example, come in, I think it was 50 million over budget, which is like a gut-wrenching number to see. We did work with a CM at that time. With the CM, the architect, and left field came up, you know, got our heads together and were able to, you know, eliminate scope that did not affect educational program that the SBC, the schools, and the town were all behind. And I I could be wrong on the timeline, but we did get that project back out to bid within 2 months. And it did come in on budget the next time it went out to bid. So just an example that working as a team through something big like that can really help when everyone puts their heads together. So just wanted to add that.
Thank you, Jen. Matt, did you have additional slides before we open up for more questions?
Really just a high level kind of procurement process outline. And then we get into just kind of the current schedule if we were looking at CM at risk and kind of where that would land us at the moment. And then I think that's pretty much it though. So just quickly, the procurement processes between the two. Construction manager at risk is a two-phase selection process. You issue the request for qualifications. Again, that's kind of what we were just talking about, making sure that all of the qualifications for this project are in that document so that we're receiving a statement of qualifications from responsible firms. Once the firms are pre-qualified, you issue them the request for proposal. All of the firms that you pre-qualify receive the RFP. They submit their proposals. This is both just kind of the pretty glossy proposal as to why they are the firm to be selected, and then they submit a pricing proposal as well, which will highlight all of their services for pre-construction and how they would manage, they would plan to manage the project. It will include their fee, their what they plan to carry for construction contingency. So those are really two critical documents during the RFP process. If firms submit a pricing proposal, you are required to interview them. So this is where kind of that RFQ and making sure we have our qualifications really spelled out. I have been on projects where we're a bit smaller and we got 9 proposals and we had to interview 9 firms, and that's fairly difficult to kind of weed your way through. So we certainly want to make sure that we're not just throwing out a RFQ and getting a ton of proposals from firms that we know are likely not going to be able to do something of this size. Once you interview the firms, the selection committee then deliberates and discusses which firm they would want to go with, and then you proceed into contract negotiation with your top selected firm. If negotiations were to fail, you can go on to the second firm. I don't find that to be a very common instance, but it is allowed if you are unable to come to terms with the first selected firm. The design bid build or general contractor is again a much more linear process. You do still go through a pre-qualifying process, and then after you submit the documents to them, they price it. You get a lump sum from all of the subcontractors, and you have to take the lowest responsible bidder unless, again, there is something that would disqualify them at that time. On the timeline, real quick, if we were to proceed with CM at risk, it would allow left field to submit the application to the OAG's office in early March. The OAG has up to 90 days to review, which would put us around the May timeframe, end of May, early June, for receiving that approval. We are allowed to start to solicit qualifications before we receive the approval from the OIG. We just can't enter into contract before you receive that approval. So that gives us a bit more flexibility. Again, if we needed to pull the dates back, we certainly could. I don't think based on where we are, we need to do that. But if that was something that we needed to do, we could certainly start to issue the RFQ earlier than late May, early June. I would anticipate having the qualified firms notified by the end of June, which would allow them to submit their proposals. We would probably get the proposals right around the time of the MSBA Board of Directors meeting. I'm sorry, right around the time of our submission of the PSR in late June. And then we'll be able to hold the interviews in early July and have ample amount of time between July and the MSBA Board of Directors meeting in August, which would be our official kickoff of schematic design in the MSBA's eyes. So we certainly have the time to do this, and we do have the flexibility to even expedite this a little bit further if needed. Available feasibility funds, we just wanted to note on this, we will need to use some of the feasibility study other category. We currently have $280,000 in there. This would be needed for at least the schematic design portion of pre-construction. Once if the project is approved in May of 27, then we would have the full funding of the project to assist with the other pre-construction phases in DD and CD. So we certainly have ample amount of funds in our other category to support the schematic design portion of bringing a construction manager on.
If I could just add this, if I could just add that other category, there are things that we do need to, we will be needing related to the design of the project that have been identified. So we will have a longer discussion about that, how much of that budget should be used for bringing on a CM, if that is the decision of the committee.
Jen, can you say more about what these other things are, or can you be prepared to do that at the next meeting?
Yes, absolutely. For the next meeting, the other items are outlined in the in SMMA's contract. There are some things that we are taking a look at right now that will some of those funds may be utilized for things like additional surveying or wetlands, additional wetland surveying. Sorry for the, I'm not sure if Helen is on, if you are able to, since I'm unfortunately still driving.
Yep.
But speak to a couple of those.
Yeah, you're remembering correctly. I think the biggest one, and we're starting to do some research on, is the need for the geothermal test bore. We know this committee is committed to looking into that system. And so having some initial meetings to see what grant programs are available to help alleviate pressure on the budget for that test bore. But Jen is right. You know, if we do end up exploring additional access to the site, that's where the survey, where wetlands work would need to come in. So again, yes, there are some other outstanding items in the other category. We want to make sure we weigh appropriately with the need for a CM if that's the decision.
And we will be ready to, we'll have that outlined more clearly in our next meeting.
Great. Are there other questions from the committee? Ken?
I just wanted to ask if we have any concern about needing budget for potential additional exploration into contamination. I know there was some question in the PDP about some oil tanks and stuff out back in the past.
I can address that. So that ADS amendment that was approved a couple of meetings ago, that is the phase 2 that is happening right now, Ken. So that data is being collected as we speak.
So we've already covered the cost. Great, thanks.
Yeah.
Libby?
I just want to make sure I understand something you said, Matt. Did you say we could start with the selection process before the OIG gives us the approval? We just can't contract with anyone until then?
Correct, yes.
Is there
And-
like, sorry, was there like a risk that they wouldn't approve this? Or I mean, I'm sure there is a risk, but are we at major risk if we wanted to do that to save time or?
I don't think so. I mean, of all the projects that I have done construction manager at risk on, there's maybe one that's I'd say is maybe more complicated than Medford. The last 2 projects that I did construction manager at risk were approved no problem by the OAG's office and were much smaller, much simpler than this. So I think there's very little risk of them saying no. They have taken applications a bit more seriously over the last year or so. I think they were just getting kind of bombarded with a bunch of applications that weren't really filled out correctly, and just, people just didn't know really what they were doing. So they're really kind of taking more time with, making sure that the OPM and the designer know what they're doing. And that's certainly not a concern here with the experience that Left Field and SMMA have.
Yeah, that's what I expect. Okay, thanks.
Any other questions from the committee? Matt has graciously provided us a suggested vote language if if somebody is interested in making a motion to proceed with construction manager at risk and or design bid build. So I will ask if there are any motions to be made. Ken?
I would move that we proceed with construction manager at risk.
Second.
Okay. So we have Ken and Libby. Using the vote language that is present, I assume. Yep. Okay. Are there any questions before I call the roll? Okay, I will call the roll. Let's see. Jenny Graham, yes. Mayor Lungo-Kern,
Yes.
Dr. Galusi,
Yes.
Marta Cabral,
Yes.
Joan Bowen,
Yes.
Ken Lord,
Yes.
Libby Brown,
Yes.
Marissa Desmond,
Yes.
Maria Dorsey is absent, Brian Hilliard,
Yes, sorry.
Emily Lazaro is absent, Paul Malone,
Yes.
Nicole Morel,
Yes.
Aaron Alapade,
Yes.
Luke Preisner is absent. So 13 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 2 absent. Motion is approved. The next order of business is to approve Left Field to submit the application for CM at risk to the OIG. And Matt has graciously provided us some language here. Is there a motion on the floor to authorize Left Field to submit the application?
Isn't that what we just voted?
We voted to proceed with CM at risk. Oh, did we do them both at the same time? Sorry, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah, I put the language in one vote.
Okay. I stopped reading. I'm glad I'm in agreement with both of those things. Okay, perfect. The next thing on our agenda was just to review the schedule. We've actually already done that, but Matt, maybe you can pull that up real quick, just so people have another visual of the schedule. And then why don't you leave the slide here, Matt? The final thing that we have to do tonight is form the evaluation committee who will select the construction manager. And MSBA requires certain representatives, including a representative from SMMA and left field. So we'll leave that to all of you to decide who those delegates are. The MSBA also requires at least 3 people from the district, and commonly that's the superintendent and the chair of the building committee, as well as some sort of chief operating officer in our context, which would be Ken. I would like to see us add 2 people to that, so that Medford's voice in the decision of who we will partner with is Medford's voice. No offense to the folks from left field and SMMA, but I think it's critically important that Medford really be able to represent. So I guess I will open that up to the committee if there are nominations. So 2 things. One is to affirm the 3 proposed, which is Dr. Galusi, myself, and Ken, as well as any additional nominations for participants in this process.
Jenny, it's Nicole.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi. I would move to nominate, if they have the bandwidth, Libby Brown and Brian Hillier, just based on their professional experience and experience in this space.
Thanks, Nicole. Is there a second?
I would second that too, with
Dr.
my fingers
Galusi.
crossed.
So Brian and Libby, not to put you on the spot, but I think we would like, if the committee probably would like to hear from both of you, whether you are able and willing to accept this assignment.
I can jump in. Absolutely. I didn't want to nominate myself, but sounds good.
Yes, same. I'd be happy to jump in and imagine all of the sense of the companies we'll be talking with. So I this summer I'm not traveling till August, so it sounds like we've got some time to get there.
Are there other questions from the committee before we call the roll on this vote? Okay. I'll call the roll then. Jenny Graham, yes. Mayor Longo-Kern.
Yes.
Dr. Galusi.
Yes.
Marta Cabral.
Yes.
Joan Bowen.
Yes.
Ken Lord.
Yes.
Libby Brown.
Yes.
Marissa Desmond.
Yes.
Maria Dorsey is absent. Brian Hilliard.
Yes.
Emily Lazaro is absent. Paul Malone.
Yes.
Nicole Morel.
Yes.
Aaron Olapade.
Yes.
And Luke Preisner is absent. So we have 12 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 3 absent. Welcome to the evaluation committee, everybody. Sounds like we're going to be spending a lot of time together. So happy to have everybody on board and be moving forward with this like really important step. Last thing for tonight is whether there is a motion to adjourn.
Jenny, can I just ask a question real quick?
Sure.
The motion was just to add Brian and Libby to the evaluation committee or to approve everybody on the committee?
Nicole, can you clarify?
I mean, my motion was to just nominate those 2. My understanding was that everything else was like de facto who had to be on that, but I'm happy to adjust the motion if it needs to be different to reflect all of the committee being accepted.
Should we take a vote on the other Medford members just for safekeeping?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So we've already appointed Brian and Libby. So right now they're the only Medford people on the committee. Is there a motion to either accept or amend the other 3 folks that have been identified?
Motion to accept. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so motion to accept by Brian, seconded by
I'll second Jenny.
Aaron. Okay, we'll call the roll. Jenny Graham, yes. Mayor Longo Kern,
Yes.
Dr. Galusi,
Yes.
Marta Cabral,
Yes.
Joan Bowen,
Yes.
Ken Lord,
Yes.
Libby Brown,
Yes.
Marissa Desmond,
Yes.
Maria Dorsey's absent, Brian Hilliard,
Yes.
Emily Lazaro is absent, Paul Malone,
Yes.
Nicole Morel,
Yes.
Aaron Olapade,
Yes.
and Luke Presner is absent. So 12 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 3 absent. Motion is approved. Thank you, Will, for catching that. I was moving quickly because we're over time. So is there a motion to adjourn? By Mayor
So
Longo
moved.
Kern, seconded by
Second.
Libby. I will call the roll one more time. Jenny Graham, yes. Mayor Longo Kern,
Yes.
Dr. Galusi,
Yes.
Marta Cabral,
Yes.
Joan Bowen,
Yes.
Ken Lord,
Yes.
Libby Brown,
Yes.
Marissa Desmond,
Yes.
Maria Dorsey is absent, Brian Hilliard,
Yes.
Emily Lazar is absent, Paul Malone,
Yes.
Nicole Morel,
Yes.
Aaron Olapade,
Yes.
and Luke Presner is absent. 12 in the affirmative, 0 in the negative, 3 absent. Our meeting is adjourned. Have a good night.